Thank you all for coming. If I could have, well, I guess it'll be Dr. Floyd will lead us in our invocation.
All right. We invited Pastor Tom Pullen to come do our invocation for us, but I don't see him here, so I'll be happy to do our invocation for us. Please join me in prayer. Lord, we come to you today in grateful thanks and appreciation for all the blessings you provide us with on a daily basis. We're so thankful for all of the employees in Enid Public Schools, for what they do individually and collectively for the students in our school district. We're thankful for all of our students that put forth the effort that they do, and we take great pride in their accomplishments, some of which we are going to be able to celebrate tonight at our meeting. Lord, we know that COVID has not gone away. We ask that you continue to watch over us as we move through this next school year and try to deal with the new strain of that as it comes forward, and ask that you provide us with guidance that we're able to do that effectively and be able to have school as normal as possible. Lord, we ask that you continue to bless us as we move forward, and we thank you for all you've done for us and the blessings that you will continue to provide us with. We ask all of this in Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks, sir. With that, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll let the record show all members are here, excluding Kyle Whitehead, Tori Turnbow, and Joe Blackwood. Mrs. Johnson.
Yes, we are very fortunate with Enid Public Schools to have some very talented coaches and students. And so tonight we want to recognize the Enid High School baseball team under the direction of Coach Gore. So if Coach Gore, if you want to come on up, and then I've got a little cheat sheet here for you for your boys' names in alphabetical order. But I'm going to let Coach Gore tell you all about the boys' season.
First of all, thanks for having us up here tonight. We really appreciate that. I just came off the ball field, so if I look hot, I am.
Yeah, no doubt.
We've got 3 guys playing down in an all-star event down at David Allen. A lot of folks down there, so we're thankful for that. This group of individuals here, I'm really proud of. I know the whole school is. Season, we went 27-10, I believe. Finished 3rd in our district, and then won a regional championship. Got to play in the state tournament, and lost a really hard-fought game at midnight. Dr. Floyd.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah. So, but I will say this about this group of individuals: if you haven't got to meet any of them, you should, because they're all really fine young men, and you know, I'm thankful to be able to coach them. So, if you would, just give them all a hand, please.
Guys, why don't you guys line up along this wall over here as close to alphabetical order as you can get, and then as Coach Gore calls out your name, step forward and Mr. Sampson will give you your certificate, and then kind of when you get your certificate, just line up there by the blue wall and we'll get a bunch of pictures. They're working on it, Coach. They're going down their ABCs.
Hey, they're scholars. Look at those leaders in there.
Hey, yeah, they're working it out. Yeah, good job. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Coach.
All right, guys, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of these guys weren't able to attend tonight, but a lot of them are, and some are playing down at David Allen. So Mason Benton is our first guy.
We'll just, right over there by the blue wall. We'll just hold our applause and then do it all at the end.
Seth Carlson, he's playing down at David Allen. Waitley Kolpak. Dax Goki. Israel Gonzalez. Dallas Goodpasture. Gabe Goodpasture. McCage Hartling, he's playing at David Allen. Jet Hartling. James Humphrey. Cooper Jarnigan. Jake Kennedy, Giander Martinez, Stephen Maxwell, Bennett Percival, Hayden Reddick, Aiden Robinson, Carter Simon, Garrett Scholl, he's playing, Brock Slater, Reese Slater, Riker Sutherland, and Aiden Voitik.
Well, guys, we know that you had a we know you had a great year. We're very proud of you, and it's a great accomplishment to make it to the state tournament. And you guys have set the groundwork for what will be coming, and very proud of all of you. So, Coach, step in there and get a few pictures with them. Anybody else like to get pictures? Well, come on down.
1, 2, 3.
All right, got a few more. Hang on. All right, a couple more. Anybody else? All right, good job, guys. Thanks for coming. Very proud of you. Good job.
We appreciate them coming tonight. Our next recognition is Miss Kitty Herbel. Kitty, if you come join us up here. But Mommy. Miss Herbel is being recognized tonight as she was named our local 2022 Air and Space Forces Chapter Teacher of the Year. This award is available for K through 12 teachers who steer students towards greatness in STEM fields. And she was nominated because of her work in helping us get the aviation up and going in the secondary levels and for her work with the National Cybersecurity Standards and State Computer Science Curriculum Review. So she's been really involved in her field, and we greatly appreciate her, and we are very proud of you, Kitty.
All right, congratulations. Get a couple of pictures, and then Kitty, I'll ask you to step to the mic. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. There we go. Hey, Kitty, if you will, step up there to the mic and tell the board about the Perkins Innovative Grant for $100,000.
Yes, we applied for an innovative grant through Perkins, which is Career Tech. It's a 2-year grant. It's $100,000 overall both years. It's a little under $50,000 for this year. It will provide 4 flight simulators this year, 2 flight simulators next year. It will also supply multiple field trips for our students, different flight and space museums here in Oklahoma, one in Wichita, Kansas as well, and just some needed materials to get the class going.
Yeah, we
Really
appreciate
excited.
you helping with that grant, and that's going to go a long way. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. $100,000. So last thing on aviation is that when we go into executive session tonight, Ms. Rhodes is going to cut out because she is going to drive down to Durant along with Jason Crowley, who teaches our aviation program at the high school. They're both going to attend an aviation meeting. That's just a one-day deal tomorrow? Yeah, so glad to get that aviation program up and running, and Kitty's done a great job helping out with that, so appreciate it. All right, is that it for you, Ms. Johnson? Okay.
Item 2, audience to visitors. There were none. Brings us to item 3, superintendent's report.
All right, very good. First item under my report is I've invited Jeff Herbel to come and speak on, Jason's not here, is he? Jason, okay, so he's going to speak for him and Jason Priest, but you might have read recently where the governor came out with an executive order for school districts to implement the RAVE program. Well, we looked at that some time back and opted to invest in the InformaCast program, which does everything the RAVE program does plus some. So I wanted Jeff to come and share some information with you about that, just in case someone comes to you later and says, how come the governor said you need to implement X, Y, and Z for safety and security, this RAVE program? Well, we already are doing above and beyond that. Jeffrey?
That is so true, Dr. Floyd. We have had InformaCast for 11 years in the district. It is our all-call and intercom system. In our 2011 bond, we ripped out all of our intercom systems and put Cisco phones in every classroom, and InformaCast is our bells and intercom system for that. So we rolled it out as part of that, but as the years have gone on, they've added more and more features, more and more capability. And another feature we've used for at least 10 years is 911, what they call call aware. So anytime 911 is called in the district, we have multiple people inside the district that are notified on their phone, via an email. We also have a relationship with Garfield County 911 where they get notification, and with the rollout of Monroe's Law and Carey's Law, we now get that down to the building, the floor, and the room number where that call came from, and all that information is passed through InformaCast to 911. So when RAVE was introduced a couple years ago, we looked at it and decided InformaCast is doing everything RAVE does. We haven't focused on the push button notification for staff on an app, but we have notifications from in our classroom. We've got emergency buttons at every one of our secretaries' desks, and it is now, InformaCast is now tied into our computer system. So if a emergency button goes off, it goes off on our desktops, which shows up on our smart boards. It goes over our intercom system. It will go off any system that's connected to the Avigilon. So in my office, I've got a special clock with an intercom. It goes off on that one. We've got intercom systems that are on the network throughout every building, so it goes off per building, per wide. And the image I gave you shows trigger points, the yellow section.
You have that handout at your place, board members. First
The
one.
yellow section shows how a thing can be initiated. So right now, a desk phone, the InformaCast app, Command Central, web console, and then the panic button. Those are all ways that we use it. So last year, or a year and a half ago, we started rolling out the panic buttons, and then our principals this last year started using InformaCast for all of their drills. So their fire drill, their tornado drill, intruder, and lockout drill is all initiated. Those drills are all initiated via the InformaCast, so when there's a real active event, they can set that off via their phone. And then the green section shows where those can go. And I said our desk phone, our computer, which is in a classroom, that computer is connected to a smart board, so it automatically goes up on the smart board. Our IP-based speaker system, our digital signage will integrate this summer. And then there are other things as we roll out that we can do more. The InformaCast app, the goal for this year is to get more and more staff to use that. We'll make it available. That's one of the things my tech group has had conversation with, and how do you make your staff install an app? We've got some history behind that, but there were some that were resistant to that. I know of one school district where it's in their contract, you can't force them to do that. Well, with InformaCast, they don't have to give up their phone number. They can install it on their phone if they want. They log in with their district's Google account, and it links them to the system. There's no additional data privacy information. That's one of the other things, who's in charge of data and if data leaks with Rave. So the InformaCast is our system. It's already passed our data privacy standards. So the Rave mobile app, one of the things I wanted to point out, Rave itself, the Rave mobile app, which the governor is requiring schools to use, is just the Panic app. It doesn't have any of the integration. So it does do integration, but you have to pay for that. And we've been integrating InformaCast for 11 years. So we felt like it was very counterproductive and a lot of expense to roll out another system on top of what we already do. So we intend to have the panic button and the emergency button available for the app, so staff can have that available in their classes at the beginning time period of school.
So the main reason we wanted to provide you guys with that information is, like I said, if somebody asks you the question about why we're not implementing what the governor's executive order mentioned, we have gone well above and beyond on the safety and security aspect of implementing this over a long period of time, and so we're not going to change and switch gears now when we've got something better than the Rave system. So suffice it to say that our safety and security system that we have in place now is much more robust and safer and secure than a whole bunch of districts in the state, just because we've been working on it so long, correct?
Oh, yes, definitely. Since 2009, we've implemented access control at every building. We've increased that to the secure vestibules with access control. Now all of our doors that lead onto playgrounds have access control, so there's no more dogged or open doors on playgrounds. The teachers have to have their badge to get in and out. So that's one of the big security points. In the recent shooting was a door left open. So we constantly talk to our staff about that. We have over 150 cameras with about 300 camera lenses. So we have one of the most robust camera networks. So the combination of all of that, our security posture is definitely much higher than the majority of school districts in Northwest Oklahoma.
I agree, and we should take great pride in that. And another reason I wanted Jeff to come and talk about that is to let our parents know that we have invested a lot of time, effort, energy, and money in that safety and security system. And he mentioned the secure vestibules. That was part of our 2016 bond issue, and we've now got all that implemented district-wide. So feel good about it. Tyler Pearson's here in the pink shirt, looking lovely in the pink shirt, by the way. And he's been heavily involved in this InformaCast system and has made some improvements to that along the way as well. So appreciate your efforts, Tyler, not only on that, but everything else you help with on the IT system. So any questions for Jeffrey? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, Coach Tips is here. The next handout at your place, board members, hits the highlights very quickly of the athletic handbook changes for this upcoming year. Yep, come on up here, Coach, and just hit the highlights for us, if you will.
So just a few, really not changes to any policy, but just rewording of policies, just to kind of try to take any type of miscommunication or not understanding out of it. The current wording will start with the transgender student participating in athletic events.
That's on the back side of your handout there, board members.
Sorry about that. I could have started with the other one. How it was worded there, we just reworded it that we're going to follow, Enid Public Schools will follow the policy and procedures of the Oklahoma State statutes and the OSA policies. That came up. I wanted to make sure that was clear because we have a new Save Girls Sports Act, and so that's in our it's a new form in our Rank 1 system that was brought to us by the governor passed this, and so want to make sure that was rewritten and understood.
Yeah, that was legislative action this past legislative session. So, and then OSSBA is following that.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then on the other side is just a grievance procedure. Just again reworded it to make it a little bit more clear. In all instances, we would love the parent to encourage the player to go to the coach. Most cases, that's going to be it. Most cases, it's a lack of communication from the coach. On a lot of times, it's just a lack of, or a miscommunication from coach to player. If that's not enough, then we invite the parent to go to the coach, the parent and the student to go to the coach, talk about it at an appropriate time. We do have a 24-hour policy. We try not to do anything right after events immediately. Everybody's a little, on edge, a little tense, whatever that may be. So. After that, if that doesn't work, or if it's a a concern that they don't feel comfortable going to the coach, then they could come straight to the athletic director. And we'd like to really stay at that level for as long as we can. At that level, we will have a meeting with student, parent, coach, and an administrator from the athletic department. We really have had really good success with having those meetings. If they're adamant that they won't meet with the student, then we kind of do a mix where we'll start with some parent stuff and then we'll add student. But the student really needs to be in on that meeting. And that's really what we're trying to get here is that the student has to be willing to move past what's going on also if it's that type of, depending on the situation. But and then after that, we have a formal grievance procedure form in the back of our policy handbook that they can go to further than that. So really, it was just a rewording and re-explaining, trying to make it a little more clear.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Any questions from board members for Coach Tips? All right, that actually is an action item, Mr. President.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Matt.
Second.
Second by Frank. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
All right, thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Next up, Ms. Rhodes is going to hit the highlights for us on these next handouts, and you have a stapled packet at your place there, and she's going to hit several of the secondary changes in their handbooks and registration guides. Angela,
Okay, so.
you got your mic on?
Yes, I think so.
All right, you might have to pull it a little bit closer. There you go.
I'm gonna use my teacher voice, principal voice. Okay, so Becky and I are new to this little area. So the one on the middle school, you got all the changes, but really it's mainly just some wording and updating of dates and who's doing what. So she went through and everything you see there is everything they changed. And one of the ones on the middle school was on the discipline. It was listed by number. So parents thought those were the steps, and so they just went back and changed to bullet. So it's a lot of it's just formatting things. Everything else pretty much stayed the same. And then on the course registration, that was just updating the coursework and with ICAP, and then any dates changes from like calendar years.
Well, that was pretty short and sweet. Yeah.
Yes, that's middle school. Do we need a vote on that
A
one?
lot of format changes at the secondary level, but not a whole lot of
Yeah,
substantive changes.
Yeah, the only thing mainly on secondary is they changed the wording from an unexcused to unexplained. And so the thought process behind that was parents thought, well, we're excused to explain. So they thought, well, if it was excused, then it wouldn't count against their 10 days. It does count against their 10 days, whether it was excused or unexcused, but they felt like maybe the wording would help parents understand that, yes, you explained why your child wasn't there, but it's still an absence. So they were thinking that if it was excused, it didn't count toward their 10 days, which it does. So that was the main change there. Again, updating the wording. The student ID, they have to use the lanyard that the school issues, so that if there was a fight or something, it's a breakaway lanyard, so it can be used as a strangulation device. And then on the only other thing that really was the change was the appellate procedures. It basically went from the principal to the superintendent. So in
Wrong.
trying to respect Dr. Floyd's time, they will have to go through the principal, then to the assistant superintendent's office before it would ever get to Dr. Floyd and then to the board.
All right, so all of those changes are, the change parts are in red in that handout. Any questions for Ms. Rhodes? If not, we can take all of that item as one action item.
Yep, so it'll be item 1 through 4.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Matt. Second by Chad. Any other questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? And the motion carries.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Rhodes. Appreciate y'all working on that. Item D is, this is the fourth and final part of our EPS Incentive Retention Stipend Program, and that will encompass $1,000 for all returning employees and $250 for all new employees to EPS, and that will be paid in some in September and some in August. And you've got a big hand out there, board members, in front of you, a big blue and white one, and oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Let's see, which is which? The $1,000 is for, I thought I gave them a handout, but maybe I don't have it here in front of me.
I don't think there's a handout.
Okay.
$1,000 will be paid in August, $250 in September, just because we may not have all of our new employees in place by that August payment. So that's why we're pushing new people to
So all
September.
employees that come back, that have been quote-unquote retained and come back, they get that in August. And then after we get done with all the hiring, all the new hires from when, back in the spring sometime? Just
Any new hire that was with us last year going into this next school
that
year.
was not new gets $250.
Yes.
Yeah, was not already with us gets $250. All right, so that's all good news, part 4 of what we've talked about and been working on, so that's all good news, so recommend approval of that.
There is one caveat to that piece, is that the employee has to remain employed with us through the school year, or else we're going to pull that bonus back or additional payback in their last payment, so their last paycheck.
Yeah, makes sense. Recommend approval.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Chad. Second by Matt. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries.
All right, thank you very much, and we are pleased to be able to roll that part 4 out, and that's all good news for employees. Next, I wanted to provide you with a quick report on our esports program, and this is not a substantive change. They've already been participating in all of these events, and matter of fact, we even hosted an esports event at our new gym at the high school. But given the school shootings and the continued discussion about safety and security and all that, I wanted to provide this handout to you that's next in your stack, just to let you know that we are now going to require the parent to sign off on the fact that they know what their high school student is which kinds of games and competitions they are participating in, just so some parent can't say that, well, I didn't know they were going to be competing in some game that simulates electronic shooting or something like that. So no change in what all of the schools have been competing in. We just wanted to let you know that we now are trying to bring the parent into the fold so that they are a part of the consent process there. And so that's what that form is. Just a report only on that. Then this is an action item that you've got. The next at your place is a list of all of the board meeting dates. We took the approved calendar for 22-23 and then looked at all of our activities, and the ones that have a star by them are not on the third Mondays. The rest of them are. So you see the scheduled regular school board meetings for January 2023 through December of 2023, and we would recommend approval of those.
Motion? Motion by Matt. Second by Frank. Any other questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries.
All right, next, I want to let you know that I did a recording recently for Mark Ray. Came to my office and recorded a short welcome video that from the superintendent that we'll be showing at all of the games at Selby Stadium, David Allen, and other places. It'll be really nice when we get the new video board installed at Selby Stadium, but that won't actually be until after football season, right? Yeah, but we'll have it in place hopefully by soccer season. But basically, it's just a welcome from the superintendent and thanking them for coming, thanking them for their support and patronage and support of bond issues over the last several years and their support of the Pacers and Plainsmen. So just want to give you a heads up that you'll be seeing that as you come to events. Next item is an action item on unfortunately, for us to accept Kyle Whitehead's resignation as a school board member. He's done a great job for us for 10 years of service on the board, and you've got his resignation letter there. You all know that he's been dealing with some health issues, and just felt like with the number of board meetings he's had to miss recently that he needed to go ahead and resign from the board and let somebody else take over and focus on his health issues and his family, which we certainly hate to lose him, but we also certainly understand why he needs to focus on those items as well, and we will continue to keep him in our prayers and hope he has a full recovery. And I showed you individual board members this plaque that we had made up for him, and I'll just read it quickly. It says, Enid Public Schools respectfully presents to Kyle Whitehead, board member, honoring his service as a member of the Board of Education 2012 to 2022. Thank you for believing in our mission, offering invaluable support, and leading our path to success. Your dedication, compassion, and leadership qualities have contributed to excellence in the lives of EPS students, teachers, and staff. Thank you. So don't know if Kyle's watching or not, but certainly thank him for that, and I will make a point to have lunch with him sometime soon and present him with that plaque. So as much as we dislike it, we certainly understand it, and I guess I will recommend approval of his resignation.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Frank.
Second.
Second by Matt. All those in favor? And unfortunately, it does pass.
Yeah. So appreciate Kyle's service to the board. And then lastly, don't have a handout on this, but we've had it in front of you several times before. The school board conference comes up August 25th through the 28th. And if you would like to be registered for that, just let Pam know and she'll register you for it. And don't know if anybody wants to stay down there or not, but if so, well, she can get you a hotel room as well. So that you can get some school board training hours out of the way there as well. All righty, I believe that is the extent of my superintendent report tonight.
All right, with that, brings us to item 4, regular business. Discussion and possible action to approve the following consent agenda items.
I do have one revision to that. We were contacted by Joe Blackwood, and on the minutes from last meeting where we came out of executive session and took action on the administrator and licensed maintenance employee pay increase for 22-23. He wanted the record to reflect that he abstained from that item. It still did pass with a quorum of the board, but we will make that correction on those minutes to where it says abstain by his name. I did respond to him also, and this is really for all board members, not just him, that if there is a future action item that you wish to abstain, be sure and point that out to the board president, that that is your intent, so that Pam can put it into the minutes. Because generally we just say all those in favor, all those opposed, and we don't generally say any abstentions. So it's a little bit, it's necessary, I guess, that you verbalize that so that Pam can get it in the minutes correctly. So that's the only correction to the minutes, and otherwise we'd recommend approval of the consent agenda.
And that is items 1 through 13. Do I have a motion? Motion by Frank. Second by Chad. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item B, discussion and possible action to approve the district's financial report for June of 2022. Dr. Robinson.
All right, June marked the end of the actual fiscal year for the school district. The one thing that is solid as of June 30th are revenue collections. We can't take any July revenue collections and count them back in the previous fiscal year. So this year we did set a record on revenue collections, and that is primarily due to the increase in federal funds we had, and that is $90,908,190. With encumbrances, as of June 30th, we're sitting at $72,577,000. So good year of collections, good year of expenditures on a lot of things we got done. So that's kind of the flashover of what you guys are used to seeing. I want to go to this next page, which you guys have is the carryover by fund, and I want to talk about that revenue collection, those expenditures. Since June 30th, we've been closing purchase orders out. So say we want to buy water bottles for some class, and they tell us those water bottles are going to be $25, and they come in at $20. There's $5 left on that purchase order. Sometimes that gets closed immediately. Sometimes that stays open. Sometimes those purchase orders are open to cover, say we had a computer failure, so they're open for $50,000. Those stay open through the end of the fiscal year, and then we start closing those out. So since June 30, we've already closed out over $500,000 in open POs. So we're already down to below $72 million in encumbered funds, and we're continuing to do that all the way until we submit our OCAS data. So on this carryover by fund, the only one I really want to talk about is the general fund, because it's going to have the largest increase to the carryover. And that increase, last year we carried over $15.285 million. This year we're looking to carry over $19 million. That's a significant increase to the carryover, but I want everybody to know it's 100% attributed to our ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds. And so I have another breakdown for you guys on this page, this giant sheet of paper. And this shows basically what I consider one-time expenditures or things we pulled from other federal programs and replaced with ESSER funds. And it goes back to FY21, FY22. The second column from left is building fund, which does not count for ESSER, but I think it's good to show you guys that. But the third column is the longest column, is the one I really want you to look at. And going all the way down to the very bottom, I know it's very small print, total for Fund 11 expenditures is $4,385,571.89 on FY22. And then you add $3 million to that, which is our additional carryover, you're at $7.4 million, which is really close to what we brought in ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds. So with our one-time expenditures, our carryover, you add those two together, you get to our ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds, which is right where we want to be. We're not looking at a funding cliff coming up. We have things really set in place. The thing is that when you go back to our expenditures, that $72 million, we really need to be drawing that down as we go over these next 2 years. And when we get to FY25, that we're sitting as we sit currently. I can't expect adjusted additional state aid coming to us, but as we sit today, we need to be getting our expenditures from that $72 million mark down to that $66, $67 million mark on expenditures, so that way we remain at an even keel on the fund balance. Now, there might be something comes up that we have to expend a little bit more than that. That's why we have a fund balance and a carryover to take care of those unexpected expenditures. So with that news, I want to say we have added to the fund balance significantly. Do not get excited that we should go out and spend that money on recurring cost, because it was brought into the fund balance by one-time dollars, not recurring dollars that we have out there. And this is the explanation. So the next page that I have for you is federal funds carryover FY22. That really breaks that down and shows that when you go down to the very bottom there, it shows a difference, positive number of $458,000. Well, we have added this year alone in raises, additional staff, we've added over $600,000 to our budget by those things that we've already done. So are we in the negative? Yes, we are, but I'm expecting some additional funding to come in that's going to offset that. So we are maintaining balance in our expenditures versus our revenue, which is right where we want to be. So this is really just, if you need a picture of it, this is the best picture I can draw for you as to why we added the fund balance without saying, well, Enid Public Schools is just hoarding all this money and not really paying it out. We're not hoarding money. We've just been blessed with a lot of one-time revenue that we need to truly spend on one-time expenditures. And just like the $1,000 additional pay, that's going to be $1 million that's going to roll out on the expenditure side in August. So
That's all good news, and the districts that are going to be in trouble and are going to hit a fiscal cliff in the next few years are going to be the ones that took that one-time expenditure money and put it into recurring cost. And once you do that, there's no way to pull that back and recover from that other than cutting staff. And that's not a position that school districts want to find themselves in. So that's all good news, and shows, in my estimation, really, really good fiscal management. So appreciate that report. Any questions for Sam?
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Matt. Second by Chad. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, discussion and possible action to adopt Resolution 670 establishing a new district board boundaries, based on the 2020 census data to become effective August 1st of 2023.
All right, and you have a staple packet at your place that says redistricting resolution.
Is
Sam?
that right, 2023?
yes. August 1st, 2023.
No.
Oh, did I put,
Yep,
it's 22?
It's 22. Yeah, I'm glad you caught that.
Yep, good
Yep.
catch.
Yep, that should be 2022.
It does.
It's
Well, no, it's up in the body.
on the agenda, listed on
You're
the
right.
agenda, it should be
That's an easy
2022.
correction that we'll make.
Yep,
So
thank you.
I'm glad you caught that. Okay, everybody gets excited. 23 is here, so and that's me getting excited. All right, every 10 years we're supposed to redistrict after census data. I realize it's 2 years post-census collection, but that's because of COVID that it was delayed. I have gotten out in front of this a little bit. The legislature is actually who normally helps school districts with this. I went to the University of Oklahoma, which is the other approved entity to help school districts through this process. I thought July was a good time to get it done. There's a lot of other things going on once we get into August and September on my side of things for the school district. And so this change that we have are very minor tweaks to add some neighborhoods to some of our districts or wards where maybe we haven't had availability of candidates over the past 10 years. This is not saying anything against anybody currently sitting on the board, so please don't look at it that way. It's really just trying to add more neighborhoods. We had some neighborhoods that were previously split. So like this, and I think Matt Loman's in one of those neighborhoods that, depending on what half of the neighborhood you lived in, was what ward you're in. So that neighborhood was changed to include the entire neighborhood, which makes it easier when you're talking to people or people are talking to us about, can I serve on the board? Just this neighborhood is included. So really that's the bulk of the changes that were added. And so it's very minor changes. The one requirement we have is we cannot have any larger than a 10% variance over our overall population, and so that's the last page it shows there. And our largest variance we have is a 2.88%, and so we're well within the range of variance that's allowed when you go to rezone and redistrict. So in fact, I think it actually brought us in to a closer target than we were previously at.
So that map that you see on page 2 of that stapled packet is actually the one that you'll be approving tonight upon action of this item. And then that last stapled packet there that says School Board Redistricting FAQs, I wanted to provide you guys with that as well. It basically summarizes what Dr. Robinson just talked about. So I attended, after we already had the board packet ready, I attended a Zoom meeting one night last week and asked the topic of August 1 came up, and Julie Miller, one of the lawyers from OSSBA, said yes, that's actually in the statute that the boards have to take action between August 1 and December 31 on this issue. So we're kind of ahead of the game, and here's how we're going to handle that. We are going to recommend that the board approve this tonight, and then next month, just to make sure we're double covered, we will have that under consent agenda in the August board meeting as well. So we'll be double covered there. So that's how we'll handle that. So recommend approval. It's no drastic change, but redistricting every 10 years based on the census. So recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Matt. Second by Chad. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. We appreciate it.
Item D, discussion and possible action to raise individual student and adult meal prices for FY23. Dr. Robinson.
Well, this is nothing that the district really wants to do, but we have to do it because the food costs have continued to go up. Breakfast prices, I do not believe, have been increased for about a 10-year period. I really can't find a record going back the last 5 years where we did anything with breakfast. And so that's where the largest increase is coming. I gave you guys kind of a list of price increases that we've seen. We're looking at roughly a 20% increase in most items across the board. And so the changes we're recommending are elementary breakfast going from $1.35 to $2, middle and high school breakfast going from $1.35 and going middle school breakfast will be $1.85, high school breakfast $2.25. Elementary lunch, middle school lunch, and high school lunch will only increase 15 cents, and that's because a couple of years ago we took action to already increase lunch prices because of some of the things we had already adjusted for. So 15 cents gets us there, but that's one of the things that happens if we hadn't have made that adjustment, we'd be looking at a lunch adjustment that'd be significantly larger. So we do need to do, as a district, do a better job of keeping up with these changing meal prices as we go forward. I'm hoping and praying that this is not a yearly thing, but it needs to be looked at on a yearly basis to make sure we're staying in balance.
And I think everybody can understand why that's necessary. I mean, all you got to do is go to the grocery store or Walmart or anywhere else to see that everything is increasing, and our child nutrition department is not immune to that. And by the way, while we're on that, you might have read where all free lunches for all kids, breakfast and lunch, has gone away starting this school year. So even more important that parents fill out those free and reduced forms when they at the very beginning of the year, so we need all those completed. It's even more important this year than it has been. So not something we like to do, but it is a necessity, and we'll be monitoring that for the next several years as we continue moving forward. So unfortunately, I recommend approval.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Chad,
Second.
second by Matt. Any other discussion?
Dr. Flores, say that again about, that last statement.
Free and reduced,
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, the federal government provided money to all school districts that covered all students' ability to eat breakfast and lunch for free. And that now has expired, so we're back to doing things normally the way we always did it, which is if a parent has a need and their income threshold is such that they qualify for free lunches or reduced lunches, then all they got to do is fill out the form, and once we verify that, then they'll still qualify for that. But they got to go through the step of filling out the form.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I was trying to emphasize.
Yeah, just with these increases, we're just trying to break even. That's all we're looking to do.
We are not trying to make a profit off of any student. And really, the hope from Child Nutrition and myself is that we are going to break even with these prices because we are still seeing increases in food costs that we can't predict. And so that's just where we're at in the world today.
It's the inflation world that we live in right now.
That's right.
Did we take action on that yet?
Did we vote?
No, we didn't vote.
Okay.
Had a motion and a second, and then we had a question. Yep, that's where
All
we
those
were.
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, any new business?
We got one more item E for Sam.
Excuse me. Oh,
Yeah.
I just marked it.
Item E.
Discussion and possible action to approve personal leave buyback for FY '23 to be paid in June of 2023.
And that is the blue and white large handout that you've got. Upon approval tonight, we'll be sending this out. Is this the one we're sending out tomorrow, or? Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we had a personal emergency day buyback program this last year. I can't say that it was successful, but I can't say that it was a failure neither. It rewarded employees for doing what we need them to do, and that's to show up to work and take care of students each and every day. And so, because we no longer have emergency days, both support and certified contracts are now 4 personal days. Employees who use no more than 2 sick leave days and have 2, 3, or 4 remaining personal leave days will be paid $100 for each one of those days they have remaining, just identical to what we had this last year, except now it's 4, 3, and 2 instead of 5, 4, and 3 that we had previously. So to me, it's a way to reward those that are doing what's right. And so no penalty to anybody that chooses to use their personal leave.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Frank. Second by Matt. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
So Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, the intent tomorrow then would be for the communications department to send this out to all employees along with the Part 4 $1,000 retention and the $250 for the new hires. All right, thank you.
All right, now it brings us to item 5. Any new business?
No, sir.
Item 6, reports. Colonel Miller, excuse me.
Nothing to add, sir.
Any board comments? Hearing none, brings us to item 7. Next special B need will be on August 15th here.
That's a regular meeting. Oh, it says special,
It
but
says special,
yeah, that should say regular.
No.
No, because we had to change the
It
date.
is special.
Oh, that's right. We moved it because of the calendar.
Yep.
Oh, that's correct.
Yep.
Thank you.
It'll be August 15th here in the administrative building at 6 p.m. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve a proposed executive session to discuss the employment of those individuals or positions listed on the attached Exhibit A, the purchase or appraisal of real property, and any pending or possible litigation. Do I have a motion? Motion by Chad. Second by Matt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in executive session.